everybody, Donna Salazar here with a video tutorial showing you how to make watercolors using my Pigment Powders from Scrapbook Adhesives by 3L. These are my personal watercolors that I have made. As you can see, there's some colors that I use quite a bit. They're normally more dirty than this, but I clean them up for the picture. These are what the pigment powders look like. They're in these cute little tubs. There's so many uses for them, but today we're only going to be talking about watercolors. This is the watercolor recipe. It's an equal part of pigment powder, gum arabic, and water. If you're going to mix colors together, make sure it's still equal amounts to the other two ingredients. If you're using dry gum arabic, mix the dry ingredients first before you add the water and then let them sit for about 48 hours. You can also use liquid gum arabic, and I did on these. The colors are beautiful, but I think I'd alter the recipe a little bit, and I'll show you why. On the right hand side is the watercolors I made with the liquid gum arabic, and on the left is with the dry gum arabic. I don't know if you can tell just from the photo of me mixing, but there's a lot of pigment that comes up right away, and you can see there's quite a bit of color on the tag that I've painted there. The one on the left is with the dry gum arabic, and you can add a lot more pigment color to it if you just keep mixing. But as you can see, as you paint it on, it's a lot thinner and more watercolory type of a texture than the watercolors on the right hand side. What I did though was I spritzed them while the watercolor was wet and moved the tags around so that the color went to the edges. If this was dry, you really wouldn't be able to get much movement, but because it was wet, I was able to get some of the color to move around. But you can see that the gum arabic is a binding element, and so it will make the color stay on your projects. Now we're going to see the watercolors in action. I stamped the image with a pigment ink, and then I sprinkled over a mixture that was 1 part pigment powder and 2 parts clear embossing powder, and then I heat set that. This is my flower bouquet stamp and die set from Spellbinders. It is the stamp plus a die that perfectly outlines it so you don't have to do any fussy or detail cutting. I am using one of my mixtures of the colors, and it is 2 parts pink and 1 part gold, and this is with the liquid gum arabic. And as you can see, I'm doing the heaviest layer around the edges, and then I dipped the paintbrush in water and just am kind of pulling some of that pigment powder watercolor into the middle. And because this is the one that is so heavy on the pigments, it works really well. This is 2 parts gold and 1 part blue to create the green. And I like to have heavier concentrations of the watercolor on some areas and not on others. Maybe add a little bit more water, or just let it just kind of extend out so it's just painting less on, and then that gives you a little bit more depth, and it's not so cartoonish looking on your project. And because I have that embossed edge, it helps to hold the watercolor inside that raised edge on the image, so it makes watercoloring super easy. You don't have to worry about going outside of the lines, which is actually normally done in watercoloring anyway, but if you want it to stay in the lines, this helps you out a lot. And now I'm going to speed up the video a little bit to make this go faster, since I'm just using the same color pretty much. And you can see this has a little bit more concentration, so that shows up more than some of the other greenery on this picture. So now I've switched over to the watercolors that were made with the dry gum arabic, and you can see these colors are more watery. And I'm starting with the heavier concentration on the paintbrush, and then as I go out to the edges of the flowers, I didn't add any more, and so they automatically just become lighter. Since I've added more pigment to that flower, I'm now using that little bit more concentration around the centers to add a little bit more of depth to the flowers, so they're darker in the middle. And this mixture is 2 parts gold with 1 part silver, and it's very watery, so you can see I'm kind of just dabbing it away with my finger. You can use a paper towel if you don't want your hands to get dirty. And I'm just coloring in some of the extra little pieces that haven't been colored yet, and I realized that I forgot one of the leaves, so added in a little bit more greenery there. And that is the finished watercolored image. And this is the card that I created with the watercolor image, and if you go to the Scrapbook Adhesives blog, you can see some of the next steps that I took to create the card. All of the Scrapbook Adhesives product I talked about are available on their website here. You can also visit my website, donnasalazar.com, where we have the blog, gallery, classes. There's so much that you can do there. And if you would like to find me online, these are the various places where you can find me. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you enjoyed this video tutorial, and I'll see you next time.